Hi, Fer. How are
Hey,
you?
can you hear me? Is
Yeah.
that
Yes, I am.
okay? I was testing if this was off, but it's not, right? You can hear me well, no problem. All right. So you hear me well, right? There's no issue with the audio.
No, it's okay.
Okay. That was the thing. Let's do this. Okay. Let's practice our final lesson of the week, of the month, actually, because our exam is on Friday, so we gotta finish it. Huh? Yeah, we have to finish the cycle this week, and yeah, those are the topics that we have seen up to this moment. Okay, let's do a little recap of the topics that we have seen this month. This month we covered this last month. Companies was last month. Yeah, this was the first topic for the month. This month we started with nutrition. We talked about cereal. We talked about all this stuff. In this particular that week, the first week of the month, we saw linking verbs. What are linking verbs? How do we use it? And it was important to distinguish the difference between a linking verb and a normal verb, because they connected adjectives, that they connected descriptions. And it was necessary to know that in order to understand the next lesson, because the second lesson was about adverbs, right? First, we learned what type of verbs existed, because adverbs work with specific types of words, specific types of verbs, no? We talked about the types of adverbs, what they do, what they do in the sentence, what are they for, and the relation with linking verbs, precisely the same verbs that we were talking about before, no? The third topic that we saw was articles. When we don't use that, when it's necessary to say that, when it's not necessary to say that, and their corresponding there's the corresponding rules. And the fourth lesson that we saw during the month, the fourth, well, kinda, I divided the lesson of adverbs in two different sections because it's a pretty long topic. So in the next video, in the third week, we talked about adverbs again, but now how they are formed, how they are spelled, what is the correct form to say them, when all the exceptions that exist, and every single detail about adverbs, right? That was the second, like, adverbs part 2. Now today we're gonna finish the month with a new video, and this particular video will take the topic of forming nouns. Okay, so what is forming nouns? Let's talk about these word transformations. Okay, in previous classes we talked about the modification of a word. A little change in the word will change the word family. Yes, the word family of the word. For example, we talked about the syllable that changes an adjective into an adverb. What is the syllable that I'm talking about?
ing.
ing. Incorrect. Again, what is the syllable that we use to transform an adjective into an adverb. An adjective into an adverb.
Lee.
Exactly. This particular word, the syllable li is what we call, let me switch the word family. This li situation is what we call a suffix. Okay, so let's talk about suffixes. Suffixes. Where are we? I cannot find. What's the slide? Number 174. 174. Oh, here we are. Okay. So yeah, this li situation, the last syllable of the word, is what we call a suffix. Suffixes is a syllable or are syllables that change word from family. Okay? Similar to what happened with adjectives, with the word li, other different words can also change the family with a suffix. Let me show you an example. If the word quick describes a person or thing, or quickly describes a guys?
A person or thing that is quick.
Kinda, but that's impossible because quick precisely is the word. If you describe a person or thing, you use the word quick, which probably with the color you're gonna understand me better. Let's colocate it this color. Just like that. If while the word quick describes a person or thing, the word quickly describes a
Away.
Away, you're close. A way of what? You're closer, you're closer.
So it describes.
Describes an adverb.
Describes an adverb, but what is an adverb? Also, an adverb describes an adverb. Probably yes, but in context, how would you say this without grammar? You said Israel was close. It describes a way, but a way of what? A way, a path, a road. What are we talking about?
Describes a situation, describes a way that thing or person is.
The way a thing or person is, again, we have a problem. The way a thing or person is
the same.
quick,
Yes, sir.
not quickly. What does quickly describe? That's precisely the two past lessons that we have been checking.
Describes the way that something is done.
Exactly. Yes, because you need a verb. Describes the way something is done, or the way you do things. This is the way you do verbs.
Mhm.
So this is a little bit different. We are having a different analysis of the words. As you can see, I collocated different colors for every part of the statement. If we remember, we have color codes, right? The color code that we are learning right now is purple are adverbs describing verbs in green. Purple and green are always together. And on the other side, adjectives are orange, nouns are blue, and orange and blue are always together. We never cross purple with blue. Never, 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 never. Adverbs never describe things. Yes. And that's precisely the reason it's important to understand the difference between quick and quickly, because just one syllable changes the whole usage. If you don't pay attention to the final syllable, you will have some mistakes on the application of the word. Yes, and this is precisely what happens with the syllable li. Okay, the syllable li turns adjective Do you agree with me?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, this is why this is important. This is one example of the power of suffixes. Understanding what a suffix is understand or helps you understand what type of words exist and correct your speech when you cannot find the correct word. When you have questions of what is a specific termination or what is a specific word that you need, sometimes you need to pay attention on the last part of the word, because some adverbs sound similar to the adjectives, and at the same time some nouns sound like verbs. Okay, by definition, a suffix by definition is a letter let's write this over here. A Britannica dictionary. Please read this section Israel.
Britannica dictionary definition of suffix: a letter of a group of letters that is added to the word to change its meaning or form a different word.
To change its meaning or to form a different word. I like that definition. You know? The first suffix that we have learned is li. Today, we are going to see a lot of other suffixes that exist in English. And the first group of suffixes that we are going to understand are suffixes that we use to form nouns. So what are the noun suffixes? Please screenshot before we go through all the lesson. Please screenshot what we have over here. I'm going to show you a list of all the suffixes or the majority of suffixes that exist in the language. Okay, this is how we transform some words from one family to another. It can be either a verb, an adjective, or other words. Using suffixes just like ity, nes, si, or. You see? Over here we have ism, ship, and h. We have here shun, meant, and h all ends in re. One of the positive things about language is that there are a lot of patterns, repetitive patterns, and this is something super nice because of course, language can be super abstract, but fortunately, there are a lot of patterns that repeat in the language. So suffixes is one of the patterns that emerge from listening to American people speak. You can understand a lot if you pay attention to the detail. One of the details that we need to understand is precisely the application of these endings, the final sounds, right? So please screenshot this slide. In a moment, we're going to see a lot of examples.
Okay.
Did you get it?
Yep.
Perfect. So noun suffixes, okay? Now, how do you make nouns, right? Remember the rules of nouns. Let's understand, let's remember what's a noun. How do you use it? What is its application? What can you tell me about nouns?
Mhm. It's who do the action.
It's who does the
Who
action.
does? That's the third person. It's who does the action.
Who does the action? No, you are confusing noun and subject. A subject is who does the action, but this is one of the components of the sentence. We are not talking about the components of the sentence. We are talking about word families. Word families. It's very interesting to see the difference, because when we think about grammar, we confuse all the concepts, right? This is not very difficult grammar. It's just identifying the type of word, because when you are in a dictionary, right? In a dictionary, you are going to get, let's say, for example, introduction. You're going to find this specific information here. And we need to know what's the meaning. You see? So in the dictionary, they will never talk about subjects, complements, parts of the sentence, object, never. We are going to talk about different types of words. So what is a noun? What is the function of a noun? Let's understand this very carefully. Give me an example of a noun. If you cannot make a definition, make an example.
Okay. I don't know. Cable.
Again, you said cable?
Yes, table.
Table.
Thing, person.
That makes more sense. That makes more sense. It's a thing or person, huh?
Uh-huh.
When we think about nouns, we must think about names. Names of things, people, abstract concepts. Noun, and this is the definition that we have seen through all the past levels. Noun is a naming word. Memorize this. This particular part. A noun is a naming word. Because the function of the noun is to give a name to different things. What's the name of this? Glasses. What's the name of that? Cell phone. What's the name of that? Cup. What's the name of that?
Okay.
If we are talking about nouns, and we have these three different things, you said names of things, we said people, and we said abstract concepts. No? If we are talking about names of things, we can have in mind everything that is around you, Everything that is around you. Give me 4 objects that you have around you.
Okay. My wallet.
Wallet.
Watch.
Watch.
Desk.
This one. A desk with desk like this, right? What else?
Mother. My mother.
Mother. Good. Well, but that can enter into the people category, no? Mother. Father. Israel. Christian. Because even your proper name are actually are nouns too. Let's consider this proper nouns. Mother, father, Israel, Christian, Mexico, Canada. See, names of countries exist too. Guanajuato. See?
Hmm?
These are nouns. When we are talking about abstract concepts, we are talking about things that are not tangible, things that don't exist in our dimension, like physical things you cannot touch, but they exist. Like air, love, smell. They exist, but you cannot touch it, right? Or things like the ones we talked over here. Let's talk about architecture. You know, finance, money.
Engineering. Things that we cannot touch, but we know they exist because of the context and the things that we know. Okay. And of course, other types of names that exist. Names of people, abstract concepts. And I was thinking about, well, let's keep it over there. See? Having names in our brains can make you understand what a noun is. So now you can say, okay, so what the correct form to describe a noun is an adjective. Orange goes with blue, right? So let's imagine you have the word, for example, I have this very good example for you. Imagine you want to translate and you have this problematic. This is a very common problematic. When you want to translate, el uso de la gramática puede facilitar el aprendizaje de un idioma. We think about this idea in Spanish, and we want to translate this into English. Translate this to English. If we start thinking about this information in English, we are going to start having a very, very important problem. How do you translate the word uso, the word facilitar, and the word aprendizaje? We know when we are familiar, if we think in basic English, we are going to have something like, okay, uso in English similar to usar. So the problem here, uso, is probably use. Yes,
And
I was thinking that.
you were thinking in use, right? When it's actually, that's incorrect. You know? And the other problem is facilitar. Facilitar comes from fácil, so facilitar is easy. That's also incorrect. Easy belongs to an adjective. You know? And use is a verb.
Yeah.
You see? And at the end we have aprendizaje comes from aprender, and aprender in English is learn. So learn. Similar issue. Right? So it's super interesting how words, we are familiar with some words, we are familiar with very, very simple words, and a person with an intermediate ability will have the ability to transform these words into the correct and the corresponding family that you need. In the previous slide, we saw some suffixes. In order to transform use into a noun, we are going to use the termination H, the action and result of a verb. The action of result of a verb. Let me show you the dictionary. Help me, Christian.
The way in which words are used in a language. A pull on current English usage. It's not a word in common usage.
You see? And this is a B2 vocabulary. That's super interesting. So this is vocabulary for your level. You know, the application of a word in a language is called usage. The combination of use plus a suffix that creates a noun. You see? And the other was aprendizaje, right? This comes from the noun learning using the suffix ing. Help me, Israel, with this.
Yes. Learning is the process of learning something. The first example is new methods to facilitate language learning. Field trips provide an opportunity for experiential learning, teaching and learning. Okay.
Right. So suffixes help us understand and find the version of the word that we needed.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the way we, or the application of these words. We have H and we have ing. In previous classes, if you remember, in the previous level, we talked about the usage of ing a lot of times. We talked about ing for adjectives and ing for activities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So precisely transforming a verb into a noun uses ing a lot. This is to talk about activities. Right? The transformation is from a verb to a noun. And we get this. Does it make sense? Is it difficult, easy? Questions?
Okay. Can we come back to the sentence?
Exactly. Yes. It's very good. Let's. So the mission is over here. Here it is.
Okay. So if we read the sentence, so we have el uso de la gramática. Okay, so if we know that uso is a verb, it's necessary to change with fix it because we needed a verb, we need a noun.
Correct.
The same with facilitar. Facilitar is a verb.
Yeah, in this case, this was an example, but I saw that, and let's ignore the word facilitar. Let's focus on aprendizaje.
Okay, yes. Okay.
Let's eliminate facilitar.
Okay, so if I applied the same structure, so we have el aprendizaje. So el aprendizaje, for me, aprendizaje is a noun.
That comes from the verb
Aprender.
Aprender. Similar in English. The verb is learn. You see?
The verb is learn, but now it's a noun.
Now it's a noun. Right? So how do you translate this? What is the correct translation?
The usage.
Transition?
The usage.
Excellent. The usage.
The usage of the grammar.
Okay. The usage. The usage of the grammar.
Or maybe it's a much better. I said the grammar.
No, only we do the complex noun transition when you talk about possession. For example, the book of English. No. The book of Amanda. Amanda has the possession of the book. The correct form is Amanda's book. But in this case, we are not talking about possession. So
okay, so it's correct of the grammar.
The usage of the grammar.
Can learning.
And what?
Learning.
Learning. And what happened with facilitar?
Okay. Can facility.
Okay. Try to use a verb that we saw. The last month we talked about delegate. How to delegate activities. You can use one of these verbs.
Okay, so we still have
The usage of grammar, of the grammar can. What about you, Chris? Do you have any other idea? What verb do we use when we talk about what verb do we use when you talk about that transition, a transition that you provoke, a transition that you cause? For example, when I go to the cinema, I get hungry. Okay, when I go to the cinema, I get hungry because there is a smell, the smell of popcorn, the smell of snacks, and the smell of food, of junk food. So this smell creates a reaction on us. Yeah. The smell of food.
Get me angry?
Excellent, you're close. But angry is a different word. Hungry.
Hungry.
Hungry. Just imagine. Yeah, hungry. So then, okay, get me angry. You're close. Similar to become a little bit
make
closer.
Me?
Very good. Yes. Make me. I make, you make, and the smell, he, she, it.
Makes.
The usage of the grammar can, well, in this case is can. Can make what?
Make us learn.
Again?
Make us learn.
Can make us learn, kinda, because we are using learn is a verb, but we need to transform it into a noun.
Make us learning.
Make us learn. Okay, that's better. What happens if learning is a noun? You cannot use it as a verb now, right? So you need to eliminate us, because us is a noun too, for like it's you and me.
Mm-hmm.
It's people, and learning is a noun too. So we have two nouns, and this is confusing. Can make. Can make what? Well, the other noun that you said you were close.
Who? You
said make us, no? Make us learning. But us is a person, learning is a noun, you have double noun. Eliminate us.
Make learn?
Exactly, yes. The usage of the grammar can make learning what?
Learning English.
Learning English. Well, in the original idea, we didn't say English.
Idiom.
Idiom. How do you say idiom in English?
Language.
Language, exactly. Idiom is a different thing. The usage of the grammar. And how many languages are we talking about? Because language is a countable noun.
Yes, so the use of grammar can make learning a language.
Exactly. Learning a language. What does it make you? Or how does it make it?
Easily.
Again? Easily. Are we describing an action or a thing?
An action.
Wrong. We are describing learning a language.
Mm.
We are not talking about how does it make it. No. We're talking about learning and how easy learning becomes. How easy learning becomes. Therefore,
Easy.
we need an adjective. What an important task. Only in this sentence, we used 3 different lessons. Number 1. In the slide, this slide over here, let me show you. Only in one sentence we used, oh yes, by the way, this is still incomplete. Let me show you something. Articles. Article omission. According to the rules, when we talk about things in general, we need to omit what?
The article.
Article the. So the usage of the grammar sounds super wrong. The usage of the grammar, that doesn't sound well.
Usage, only usage.
Is usage in general or specific?
No, it's in specific.
Specific, no?
Usage of grammar.
So we're talking about grammar in general, no? Not usage.
Yeah,
Eliminate the usage of grammar. Now it sounds correct. Now it sounds proper. Only in this sentence, we used the 3 lessons that you can see on top. Number 1, the causative verbs. Make, get, become, etc. The correct collocation of the word make. Number 2, usage of articles. The, when it's not necessary, and when it's necessary. Also, learning a language can be specific. The usage of grammar can make the learning of a language. Can make the learning of a language easy. So the second, in this case, learning is not specific. No, specific, sorry. We need the article. And finally, do we need easy or easily? What are we describing? Adverbs. Do you see the importance of the lessons now?
Yes.
Well, that's technically the thing. I need you to please take a note on all this. So whenever when you need to find a noun, or every time you want to want to find a noun, verify. Number one, the suffix that can correspond to the specific word, usage of articles, and of course, that's the most important. Very, very important stuff. Any question? Any observation? Anything that is going in your mind?
No.
Yes. Can we replace used instead using?
You can be, eh? Oh, okay. So how do you know which is the correct termination? No? Oh, that's a big problem. How we know? Okay, using exists, usage exists. So which one do we use? The only way is by using the definition. If you enter the dictionary and you look for using, automatically it will take you to the verb. This means that using doesn't, or it's not common to use using as a noun. Okay? That's the first index that you can say, okay, so using is not the correct one because I get the verb in the dictionary. And also the definition is like to do something with a machine, a method, an object. As you can see, we are never talking about words. So the definition can help you understand which one is correct and which one is not. Yeah. Right?
Right.
It's both the definition and the most common application. That's the only way you can find it. In the case of learning, for example, the word, for example, let's say learnage doesn't exist. No? Or learnity. Learnity. You see? You're gonna start making combinations. You're gonna see like, this doesn't exist. You know, the only way is learning. It's very interesting how they give you the first option. It's learning now. You see? Because precisely, if you use the incorrect suffix, the dictionary is gonna help you. Watch out, man. This is not the suffix. You need this one. Those are the two ways. And of course, the only way at all, like completely, is using and watching and experimenting English in daily, every single day, right? Listen to music, watch podcasts and everything. Stop watching or reading subtitles in Spanish, because reading subtitles in Spanish will make you distract you from the little details. Precisely, suffixes exist only if you are really observing the language. It's a matter of observation. So you need to be super observative, super like check the context of the sentence. Every time you see these syllables, understand how they are using it so you can copy it. So watch movies in English, listen to podcasts in English, get familiar with these suffixes in a topic that you are interested about. That's the best way that we can talk about this. And in order to practice, for us to practice this, we are going to do it with a little video. Let's watch, now that we are talking about design, it would be a good idea to talk about, let me show you the video that I have for you. This one over here. Okay. The video that we are going to talk about in order to practice this topic is a video that one of you have seen already, which is this one over here. Why Costco is the anti-Amazon, right? The word anti is a prefix, a syllable that we use to change the meaning of a word. And of course, as you can see, Amazon, Costco, they are proper nouns, right? We can talk about this particular or identify more nouns in this video, okay? I'm gonna pass you your vocabulary later for this video, and we're gonna start watching it tomorrow. But that's gonna be the mission for the next class. Okay, also, tomorrow, we are going to check all the suffixes, the different examples that exist, so you can get more familiar with it. Okay?
Okay.
Perfect, guys.
Okay.
So please study this translation. Try to translate sentences into English. That's a good idea. You know, I really like this exercise to change from Spanish to English. That's a very, very good exercise. So try to do that. Tomorrow we're gonna do more like that. Right now we finished.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good class, guys. Very good class. I'll see you then tomorrow.
See you. Thank you.
See you.
Have a good day.